we had a client, he just sold his pharmacy business, 37 times revenue, freaking awesome win. And then what we did is we sold it last year. We rolled the money into an opportunity zone. So opportunity zone, then you could grow that over 10 years and pay no tax.
Welcome to the Physicians and Properties Podcast, the show where we teach you how investing in real estate can give you the freedom to practice medicine and live life how you want.
Doctor! 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 Doctor!
Now, here's your host, Dr. 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐞𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐩𝐬.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Physicians and Properties Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐞𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐩𝐬, and today I'm joined by Scott 𝐻𝐺, who is the founder and CEO of 𝐓𝐢𝐬st. Scott left corporate America to build a firm around a different vision for wealth, one that focuses less on pushing products and more on helping people really understand, grow, and protect their financial lives. 𝐓𝐢𝐬st describes itself as its work is helping clients reach their full financial potential through a personal CFO approach. And Scott's mission centers on helping people make money work for them so they can live the life that they actually want. Today, we're going to be talking about what it really means to take control of your wealth, why so many high-income professionals and physicians still feel financially stuck, and how doctors can think differently about money, investing, and freedom. Scott, so great to see you. Thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And for folks who don't know, Scott and I met at Kyle Stevenson's Legacy RX conference in Indianapolis, had an amazing time, and really grateful for the connection and the time there. And I really hope that Kyle does the conference again so I can get back out in Indianapolis.
Yeah,
you guys.
that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, it sure was. Well, Scott, let's go ahead and start with your backstory and why you built 𝐓𝐬est. So for those who haven't met you yet, who is Scott 𝐻𝐺?
I'm just a dude, I guess. Just the normal guy. My childhood was kind of rocky my parents divorced when we were very young. We moved to Indianapolis. My mom and dad, my dad was in the food business and working for Steak 'n Shake. And when they split, we were very poor. And I had a younger brother and sister that was much younger than I was. So here I am now in charge of the house. And we had to move to Section 8 housing, and I just felt that money was always a problem because you had no control because of the circumstances, and you were subject to having to live on someone else's terms. And it was very hard because you had to stay at home. You're locked in this confined place, and if you leave, something bad's going to happen. And my mom would go to work at night and come home and very stressed out. And how are we going to get through? So that was just challenging. And so by the time at 12, I was like, I got to figure this out, and started my own business, paper routing, just anything I could do, hustling, making money wherever I could. And so I was always entrepreneurial, but I was always chasing money. And luckily, I was able to get a scholarship to play. When we moved, I was able to play sports, and it got me into sport. And then it was like, I got a scholarship to go to college. And it was really cool because I never felt like I could ever get out. And what was happening was every time I would decide to do something, I would control my own destiny. So instead of sitting in it, dwelling in it, what I learned was that I can actually, I was actually building my own future, whether I knew it or not, because I made a decision that I am not going to sit in the same environment. I'm going to change my environment. So as that journey goes, I started realizing that, I can go to college. Well, why not do a master's program? Why not do the best program? And then so I had to talk my way into a program like, hey, can I get in this program? Well, you got to have we only take presidential scholars and all this stuff. What's your GPA? I was like, well, I got 2.7. Well, who picks? And sure enough, I get into this architecture program. I'm like, wow, I can't draw a straight line. That was a bad idea. So you just keep learning as you go. And then finally, I make it into big tech and corporate America. And how great was that? So I get into that side, and then I realize that I get into the job, and I realize that it's just not for me. And from there, I was like, man, this money thing, because I was always like, well, if I get a good job, then I get enough money, I can go build real estate. And what happened to me was I was in that Section 8 housing, a helicopter dropped in. And I was like, what is this dude doing? What game's he playing that we're not? And he owned all the properties, all the Section 8 housing. And I was like, man, I want to be like that guy. And then my mom ended up getting a job working in the front office of a real estate developer. And I sat down, they had all the plans. They go, this is what you want to do, boy. You want to be on this side. And I'm like, So that's all I wanted, but it took money. So I was like, well, if I get a technology degree, then I can make money, get the money. So I was always chasing money. And then when I got it, I finally got my income. I was in the top of this great program. I moved to Tampa, and we bought a division of IBM, and I finally had made it. And I'm like, this is horrible for me. And I go, what if I could create a business that worked with friends like myself that were chasing it, help them make better choices? And we did like what we would help in big tech for average everyday people. And so we called it, at the time, it's called Jared Bunch Consulting. So I thought consulting was the best thing you wanted because we were trained to go work at like a big Accenture or an Ernst & Young consulting. But I realized that consulting was overpriced, no value. I was like, huh. And then our mission was to educate, guide, and counsel people toward reaching their full financial potential. And that was built in 2003. So that was like literally on the back of a napkin over a couple beers saying, that's what we're going to build. So I convinced my roommate to quit his job first because he was in the financial business. I didn't know much about it. I just knew I wanted to know. And we split my paycheck. And that's how this company was created. So it was never built in the confines of a traditional, like I never had a finance degree. I never went through the traditional way of learning money. I just read books. Warren Buffett, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Real Estate Secrets, How to Build Multifamily Housing. Like I read so many books because I wanted to understand the game. And then I would surround myself with other real estate people that were doing real estate. So I got in with my friends that back then we were playing basketball, and he owns all these properties and he's very young. Like, how do you do it? So he starts to show me who he works with. And that's when I was like, well, let me help you organize yourself. Let me help you protect yourself. Let me help you with your cash flow. And that's when we created what we use now is like build our financial game boards, helping people make better choices. What you would say like a virtual family offices or a full service family office was really what it was, but I didn't know what it was at the time. I was just saying, look, if I can help organize you, help you make better decisions, find money leaking out of your life to create millions of extra dollars, I'll do it for free if you just let me try it. So I'll do it at no cost. And they're like, are you serious? It's like, yeah. And literally I would just create value. And next thing you know, we got a company. That's literally how it started. So you fast forward to now, we're like one of the fastest growing. We're now in RAA and we have real estate. We've got, this whole cool thing, but it's really about the data and managing information to help people make better choices. So that's the longest winding Who is Scott Jared. I wrote a book on it called Future Hack, but it's literally that you're hacking your future every single day. So if you don't like the environment you're in, well, think about it in another way. Like, what would the environment that I'd want to be? So think about what your future would be. And if you could design that, that's what it is. So if I'm going to help you reach your full potential, well, the first thing I do is I got to teach you how to think about your thinking and think about where you want to go. So when you go through our program, all I care about is why. Why do you want it? Where are you going to go? Where do you see yourself 3 years from now? Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? If you were dead, heaven forbid, what would they say about you? Yeah. Would it be a life of significance? If it's not, why don't we do that today? So when you get your mind in the framework, because your mind is over money. So then if you think about it, so in Future Hack, it's like, how do you build a better mind? Start with your why, understand your data. How do you make financial choices? That became what Invest is today. So that's like the whole thing in one scoop, but it's in the book.
That was awesome. Yeah. Well, I think something that's so cool that hopefully folks picked up on is how many times you changed your environment that set you up for success, and how many times you kind of surrounded yourself with the people that you wanted to be around, both in books, but also in real life, and how that created the life that you live now and the company that you built. I also love that it was a couple beers in back of the napkin. I feel like that's where all great companies start from, which is really, really cool. Yeah, Scott, I wanted to ask about kind of that mountaintop moment that you had. You guys purchased that division of IBM. You were like, hey, I'm here. I've hit my financial goals, or at least my income goals, but it sounds like you didn't really feel fulfilled. What was that like for you? I think a lot of physicians feel similarly sometimes, where they finally get into med school, they finish residency, they start getting that attending paycheck, and then they're really in that day-to-day grind of being a physician, and they're like, man, I'm just unfulfilled. What was that like for you?
Very similar. Like, you're stuck in this corporate shell. To me, it was like, all you're going to do is you're learning technology, like you're learning language that works within the corporate world. So like I love AT&T. I think it was the best experience ever, best thing I ever did. I'm so grateful they gave me the shot. because it taught me a lot about how to be a businessman, how to understand like the Bell system, the Bell Labs. You're talking one of the largest, most successful companies of all time. So successful, they had to break it up and keep breaking it up to keep it going. It's still alive. Like you're just getting shot in the head every day and you're still one of the top companies. So you're like, wow, this is cool. So we really structured our company similarly to the building blocks to what AT&T did. But the thing is that where would I be? So if I started thinking about my future, and if I was thinking, okay, if I'm that person 20 years later and someone like me came in, some young kid and just took my job, what would my life be like? How significant would it be? And what are my skills? Well, I know all this lingo, my relationships are only inside this company. And it was very hard for me. So that to me, it was like my soul's tapped out. And really, did I make any difference? Did I make anyone better? Like, that's why I never really want to do the big consulting route either. But if I can work with average everyday people, that can work. So on the physician world, flip it around, like you already are in care. Like you're helping people do better. So like if I want to make money work for people, so I think health and wealth go so close together because if you're not healthy, what gives the money? And I was like, and I always thought that you need two kinds of people in your life, a really good physician and a wealth guy. You got those two, you're good. And I'm like, well, shoot, I better pick one. I definitely don't know health. So maybe that was like really where I was going with it. But and so when I got to Tampa, the consolidation hadn't happened yet, like it did like here in Indiana where I'm at now. And so I was working with real estate people. So here's the problem with real estate people. They're always broke, like always. So it's either they get money and then they spend it real quick. Business owners, they're always that until they have a liquidity event. But you know who's got cash flow? Physicians. So we started a residency program. So I started working with residents and they don't understand money and they're inside healthcare systems. And I'm like, what do you want? And they go, well, I just want to do patient care. I want to help my clients, but I also want to be rewarded for it. So it's like, well, why don't you become in the business of medicine in that way? So what was happening is it's that same confined structure, but you got to see so many more patients. Your quality of patient care goes down. And then your soul's ripped out because you can't do anything that why you got into the business in the first place to help people. And now you're being dictated by big insurance companies, regulations, and things that is ruin your quality of care, selling drugs, pushing products, similar in our business, because you're not going to survive if you don't increase your patient, do your procedures and all that stuff. And now you're a cog in the wheel of the system. And so either you stay in it or you say, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to break it. I'm going to change the industry, which is what we did. So that was the dilemma I was in. And I could see it every day when the physicians come in. They're worn out. They're tired. They're frustrated. They're trying to find a better way. And I'm like, all right, clear the noise, focus. What would it look like if I give you a perfect white canvas? Tell me what it would be.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's so true. The amount of burnout, the cog in the wheel, the see more, do more with less resources, just to keep your income where it is, not necessarily to even generate more income is so frustrating. And we're seeing tons of physicians who are starting to really get into real estate and entrepreneurship and starting their own practices again and those sorts of things. So it's so cool to see physicians that are breaking the mold like what you did. I think, a lot of it comes down to the fact that like, we just don't get much financial education. I mean, I got none of it while I was in medical school. And now that's kind of changing. And I'm so glad to hear about InvestRx and the things that you guys are doing with residents in order to help get that financial literacy. But why do you feel like physicians still feel like so behind, stressed, or uncertain despite making good money? What's kind of come up as you've talked with more and more docs?
Well, first of all, so in my in financial world, you can go to school for 4 years and go start. So they've already got a head start on you. So most people are getting out. So a physician, you got to go through medical school, then you got your residency, fellowship, and by the time you actually go, and then you got to work your way up to partner or whatever, and then you got to keep up with the Joneses because mama wants a new house and you got the kids, and you're like already in that, and that is you're already behind the 8 ball. And so the reason why physicians get into real estate isn't because they like real estate, it's because they want cash flow. They want passivity. They don't want to be controlled by the system. They don't want to be a cog in the wheel. They want to be able to control their own destiny. So they're trying to find other ways to get passive income. And that's why they are attracted to real estate, most of them. Because if they were attracted to real estate, they would have been real estate in the beginning. They wouldn't have went to medicine. Like, it's just pretty simple. They're now changing their unique ability, which what I want to do is take our clients' both unique gifts, what gets them passion, what drives their input to do something, not focus on something that gives you're chasing something again. Like, so, but if I can teach you the business of medicine, do that well and own medical real estate, own surgery centers, or whatever your business is, now you're doing your passion, you're making a difference, you're helping the people that you wanted to serve in the first place, and you do it in that way. So that's where our clients are coming in. So we help them build out their surgery centers, build out their practices. It's David versus Goliath. How do we compete against the big boys, get insurance reimbursement, build our own healthcare platform, do functional medicine, whatever it might be. And we're creating a new dynamic and solving the problem. Longevity. That's the problem. People want to live longer. They're not. The system's broken. Fix it. It's a huge opportunity. And so now you're like, oh, I never thought of it that way, because we were trained. You go to school, you learn a bunch of stuff, and you're trained to go get a job at a healthcare system. That's what they want, because that's where it is, which is perfectly the system. That's the system. It's what it's set up for. Great. You signed up for it. So either you want to do it or you don't. And if you don't, then what would it look like if you could design the life? And to me, that is the investor's dilemma. That is the physician's dilemma. That is what my dilemma was. And I can see a parallel. That's why I was so excited to work with physicians, start the residency program. And the ones that worked with me are making a lot more money than they were the ones that didn't, because they're in business and medicine. And it's so interesting to see how we've done over the last 20 years, the ones that are now, in their career, and how much more successful they are than the other ones, just because they still get to do their practice, but they have some ownership and they still have the real estate. They have all these things, but they did it in a way where they designed what they want, not chasing someone else where, hey, buy my real estate stuff, you're going to get rich. That never works out, right? Yeah. It's you doing it. I mean, I wouldn't say never, but a lot of things have to work out for it to actually work out.
Yeah, that's great. And you've been working with physicians for a long time. Folks might have just missed that it's been 20 years that you've been working with some of these folks. And I know you've had a soft spot for physicians for a long time and really love working with them from a client base. What are some other things that you've seen that have been common themes amongst physicians who have either come to work with you initially that they really maybe struggle with from a mindset perspective, or what have they learned as they've been working with you at INVST?
So there's three things they got to do, and a lot of them get out of order. First of all, you got to protect yourself. Like, you're your goose laying golden eggs. If you insure the eggs, not the goose, that could be a problem. So the first thing you do is make sure that if you're a unique specialist, that you're ensuring your ability to do your role. And there's a big disconnect on the way you protect your asset, like what you're doing. So first of all, you got to protect yourself, because if that stops, then nothing happens. You got to get organized. So you got to organize yourself and get clear on what you want. Because when do you actually get to sit down and think about what you want? You don't, because you're at the office, the first one, you're the last one to leave, and it's every day, all day. And it's not like life stops. So that's good. That's how they keep you on the wheel, because you never get to slow down to think about what you want. And then you got to pay yourself first. So what happens is it's the lifestyle creep. Well, I can't pay myself first. I got my student loans, got to pay all those off. And I need to get a house. And I'm so trying to catch up. But the problem is compound interest really does work. So if you took a percentage of everything you made and saved it first, or invested it first, paid yourself first, and then figured out the difference. But that's not what happens. The physicians are making decisions because they don't like debt. I'm afraid, and this, and it may be true, may not be true. So what you got to do is you got to have a way to be able to decide you're making decisions out of your emotion, not out of logic. So how do we make the logical decision, understand your emotions? Because messing with your money is like messing with your emotions, right?
Yeah,
so
100%.
How do you make sure you make the best decision, but you have no experience managing money, and now you got money? So that's the dilemma. So it's not only did you get started late, you got all this catching up to do, and you're trying to accelerate down, versus paying yourself first, organizing, protecting the golden goose. And then we start to build up, and then that's when we start to accelerate down debt over a long period of time. And that's what you're doing. So if I can help you understand from option A to option B, but that to me is a lot of it, because they don't understand money. They're afraid of it. And it's, they don't want to have to be subject to the system again and be in a situation where they're not, just like I was when I was contained in this little house. Like, I want to get out. I can't get out.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I think a lot of times physicians are really scared about being preyed upon by some of those different financial services and products that may exist, or advisors that really are kind of peddling things that aren't too terribly beneficial because they want a commission or something like that. So how do you feel like, I know we've talked about before kind of the traditional advisor services approach and what that's like. How do you feel like INVST is different than that and more geared towards physicians?
I'll tell you what's funny is when I was at AT&T, these financial advisors would call me and wanted to help me with my money. I couldn't get off the phone fast enough. Like I just felt like I wanted to vomit in my mouth, if you know what I mean? Like just like, and that's a little aggressive for a podcast, but like I just felt the most, I mean, granted, I grew up in the hood pretty much. So you can tell a shark pretty close when they walk up to you. It's like, that's a bad dude. And you just felt that their intent wasn't about helping me. It was about selling a product and disability insurance for physicians or whatever. But I just felt this amount of distrust in it. And I was like, the last person in the world that I would trust with my money is you, because first of all, you don't have it. And then it's like, how are you going to help me with my decisions when you're not even asking me the right questions? And so to me, that was where that's where I saw the opportunity. I was like, wow, this industry is wrecked, man. They're selling product. They're looking for commissions. They're pushing products that aren't even set up. The insurance companies really just want to make money. The financial companies just want to charge you on something. The information companies. So if you use a fintech or an AI platform or something, they just want to sell your data. So everyone's on an agenda. I was like, no. I want to represent the people. Like I want to work on their side of the table to help them make better choices, because someone helped me one day when I was trying to learn and they said, hey, I'll help you get into sports. Like, why couldn't I do that for people and money? So that's why I'm like, how can you just authentically say, these are my core values. How do we help you design this future you love? And then help you understand, here's how money works from a fiduciary standpoint. So that way you understand where the hidden commissions, fees, and risks and all that, where all those things are in. But if you don't have the tools to uncover those decisions, then you feel like you have no choice. And then you try to do it yourself, which becomes even worse. And then it's just a vicious cycle. And then the fear of doubt, and you just keep going through this cycle. It's like going to Alcoholics Anonymous over and over and over again. It's like trying to get out of it. But that's like the fear of money. It's like you keep going through, and it's like, it's just this investor's dilemma, if you look at it that way.
Yeah, that is a great point for sure. And I think that one thing I like that I've heard you talk about is kind of personal economy in the financial game board strategy. What does that look like for folks who are trying to get started and thinking about a different way about money?
Yeah. So what was interesting when we started Invest, I was like, how do I do it? Because the traditional investment firm says, well, I'll help you if you got like $500,000. I'm like, okay, so you're not a wealth builder. You're basically a partner of mine. I built the wealth, so you just want to get your cut. Is that so? Okay, got it. So I'm like, I want to be in the wealth building business. I don't care. I don't care if you have money or not. Well, you're a physician, so you did some work. Do you love your family? Yeah, I want a good family. Cool. Are you abundant minded? Like, do you think you could do better? Absolutely. All right, cool. Sign up. Do you have money? Yeah. I don't care. So I can go to a residency program and start there. And you would do the same process you would do for that doctor that you would for the client, that one that I helped that built a whole healthcare network and sold it for $1 billion. It's the same exact process. So we get them organized and we make sure that they can pull up everything they have and understand what they have. And so we aggregate their data so you can see your personal balance sheet. And then from there, it's organized properly. Most people don't even know how to organize their dollars right. And so remember, I wasn't very smart. So I had to break it down for a 5-year-old. So it's only there's only 19 things that you have in your life. There's only 4 ways to protect. There's only so much savings. So if I have a protection, I got my balance sheet and I've got a P&L. Now you can look at things 4-dimensionally, but every decision that you make has an interface. It pulls out. So I put money in a 401k. Well, you actually have a deferred liability. You're building a more deferred liability, and you can't take it out till you're 59.5. Yes, you save some money on cash flow because you don't pay the tax. It is protected because it's protected. But then again, you don't have any money that you can get to. You have to wait till 59.5. So that is locking up your money. Now, if I could say, instead of doing a 401k, what if I put it into a savings account? And after I built 3 to 6 months liquidity, then I have a year of liquidity, and then that money's working. But yeah, then I would have to pay more in tax because I couldn't defer it. So I have a new tax liability. Is it protected? Well, no, not unless I set it in a family trust or put it in an LLC or a qualified wage account. So option A is qualified plan. Option B is outside. Then you go, well, what if I then wanted to buy a piece of real estate? Well, if the money's outside, couldn't I then take a loan against my investment portfolio and then buy the property and then cash flow the property, then restructure the debt on the property, create cash flow, then put that money back in, and then, oh, by the way, I get a tax benefit. Oh, I never thought of that. So then, I could So it's not the same as that. Then I can write off things that I wasn't able to do before. So what you're doing is, if you're a resident or you're first year, second year, fifth year, 100th year, whatever in the business, it's the same methodology. But what you're doing is, it's like, you're not going to diagnose a patient without the x-ray or the MRI. Why aren't we doing that for your personal life too? But you don't have the tools. So in our book, Accelerate, it shows like, this is how you organize yourself. But if you go to like mint.com or you go to any of these other platforms, they're not trying to organize you for that. They're trying to sell you something. That's not what they're doing. You need to be able to make better decisions. So it's like, you went to school to learn how to diagnose a patient, look at the MRI, look at the CAT scan, and make a diagnosis. Same thing. I'm looking at the CAT. Here's the x-ray. Now, do you understand the x-ray? Okay, I'm going to walk this real slow for you. Option A is 401k. Option B is we're going to start saving outside of 401k just so you can build some liquidity up. What's that look like? Option A is pay off student debt quickly. Option B, don't pay off student debt, pay it off slowly over a long period of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now every decision you're making a decision based on option A to option B, and what's the output from where I am today, where does it go in the future? From 4 dimensions. Am I protected? Am I building more assets? Do I have liability? And my cash flow. There's no system that I've seen that can actually do that and help you in all those areas and help you participate in cash flow real estate. Because if you work for an investment firm or a bank or a broker dealer, you're not allowed. Why? Because it's not an approved product. So I'm like, well, that sucks, because all the people I know with money have businesses in real estate. Like, why would I want to play a loser's game? Like, so I'm like, all right, here's the deal. We're going to be an RA. We're going to help you on those decisions, because everyone I know has a business, which is what I want. I want to own real estate, and so do they. So now I sit on the same side because I'm doing it too. So ask the financial advisor, what do you do with your money? Show me your financial game board. Show me your plan. Because I would walk out there with my broke money and I'd say, look, here's mine. I know I ain't got nothing, but I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this for you. And they're like, you're an idiot, man. All right, fine. You're going to do it for free? Yes. Let me help you. And then that was it. And so you add value. You build wealth, you add value, and success comes. And that's how we built the company.
That is awesome. I want to talk about adding value, because I think that's something that you guys do so well. But when we were in Indianapolis, Scott and INVST team had us in their box right on the end zone of the Indianapolis Colts game, and it was absolutely incredible. And I think that that's something that you do. And I know Kyle was talking about the Indy 500 and some of the other events. Obviously, definitely a sports guy. But I think that something that you guys do that's so cool is you really go the extra mile to provide value and have these like unique, incredible experiences for folks. So let's talk a little bit about that. What is that like to go the extra mile? How have you seen that impact business for you going forward?
So, yeah, it's funny. People are like, oh man, you got in all this stuff. It's like, not really by design, okay? Like, because you gotta remember, if you go back to my journey, like, it was a basketball coach that picked me up and got me shoes to play basketball. It was the football program that showed me that, hey, you can get out of this by playing football. So if I'm sitting there, when I was in Tampa, we used to work with the Bucks, and Tony Dungy was there. So I just had a passion for helping those athletes, because I knew that they were in the same situation. They were coming from nothing and they were building it up, and their success rate was 0, basically. Like, they all go bankrupt, they run out of money. So I was just like, and they were friends. I could talk, I could relate to them, to what they're doing. And so I was like, I would like to be a hero to them. So like, I was like, so I'm going to help athletes, because that's what I was. And I just thought that I love the game. I love being in it. And then I like physicians. And I like business owners. So I was like, I'm just going to build a company that works with them and my friends, because that's what we are, right? So that being said, here you are going to the Bucks. You're picking up game checks back then, and you're putting them in. And then by the time the summer comes around, I was the pond man. Like, hey, can you help me with my motorcycle and my diamond rings and all this stuff? Because I'm out of money because it stopped. I was like, y'all need some like financial literacy. So then, so I got an NFLPA, and next thing you know, Jim Irsay passed away here at the Colts. And then Carly's like, she was in YPO with us and stuff. And there, when Tony came here, he had created this program for the players. DT was running it. And sure enough, they said like, hey, would you guys be interested in being a wealth partner of the Colts? I'm like, seriously? Like, that would be really cool. But you got to remember, we had already worked with a lot of the players. We've had built history. So it was a 20-year in the deal. And it was just such an honor to be able to say that, because I just love the journey. I love the stories. I love the underdog story. The IndyCar thing was a different one. So in IndyCar, we had a driver. So we have the sports agency that we help build up and then go. And I don't know if you know about IndyCar, but usually the drivers are broke. Like, they have no money. So it's like literally they're just trying to find someone to sponsor their next deal. So Jack Harvey was just an old farm town kid that, I wouldn't say old, but he is kind of old now. But he was a farm town kid that really came up from nothing. Like, you think, oh, he's an IndyCar driver, he's loaded. It's like, no, he actually go-karted a farm town and outside the UK, worked his way up, could have gone Formula One, got second place in Indy Lights and makes it in into IndyCar. And then sure enough, his sponsorships just got taken by teams and things went there. So he comes in as INVST. He's like, yeah, I don't know what my next step is. So we start helping him. He's like, do you want to help me get on the cars? I don't know what that means, man. That's like how billionaires become millionaires is what I understand about IndyCar. Yeah. And so then Dale Coyne comes in and he's like, hey, it's like the worst team in IndyCar. He's like, hey, Sonny. He's like, I was like, dude, the race, you start in 2 weeks. He's like, some money's better than no money. And I was like, this guy's the biggest redneck crazy guy ever. I freaking love him. Like, I'm in, man. So we did. I was like, what a great experience that you could go take someone down on a track, see cut rubber. This dude's an underdog story. And you can bring your clients down and then they can get on the car too and tell their story through the car, through the experience.
That's awesome.
So think about high level experiential events that you don't usually get. I was like, wow, if I'm going to do an event, I don't want to go do a lunch and learn at some like hotel. Yeah. Let's go to the track, man. Let's go to the Colts game. Let's have fun with it and let Jack Harvey tell the story. Let that person, because guess what? He's now on the track. He's a Fox commentator. I was like, dude, you're the face of IndyCar. I guarantee. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, no, I see you as the face of IndyCar. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, dude, Fox is coming into IndyCar. He's like, what's that mean? I was like, that means we need to get you on the commentating. You should be commentating. And he's like, well, I thought about that. They kind of approached it to me. It's like, what are we gonna do? It's like, we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. What do you mean we're going to the Super Bowl? Well, we're going to take our IndyCar to the Super Bowl. What? Like, yeah. And then my wife got her uncle to go and interview Jack on a Fox affiliate out of Pittsburgh. And sure enough, we go into our hotel and there's Fox. We walk down on the no credentials, just walk right in and start talking to Fox people. Within a few weeks, he's now a Fox commentator. And then, so now INVST has Jack Hollywood Harvey running the INVST car in the Indy 500. We were in 5th place for a good chunk of the race. And then his brakes went out, of course, but that was fun. And then this next year we're running it. So imagine bringing your most high level relationships. They can come in. So we have a medicine day. So we have CEOs and executives from healthcare coming in, learning about medicine and the sport of medicine. And so with one of our sponsors. So now we did a real estate summit. We did an investor day. So we had like Angelo Pizza, that wrote Rudy and Hoosiers, and he's doing working on an Indy 500 movie, like how movie finances work. Home Field Apparel, they're big at IU. So the guy started designing stuff in his house. So we helped him with his capital stack. And so he does all the apparel for the 500 and like what that business is like. One of my friends, his family was part of the Holman family that sold the track. So he was generation 3 and he used to run it before they sold it to Penske. And he created a ski that's got shocks on it. So imagine mountain bikes. So so we have this investor day with all our friends talking about these great ideas and these businesses that are transforming industries. So that's a fun event. So does that make sense? So like think about awesome engaging events with the people like sports and physicians and business all together. And we're experiencing together. And then we're creating just like what we did with Physicians RX. You come in, we teach, and then we have the football player come and tell their story and say like, that's your mind over money game. But if I can get you to experience something and say, look, no, that guy was just a dude just like you or us that was there. And the guy who owns the team is the same too. And now you're getting an experience. You can say, these are just normal people that have designed a life that they love. Yeah. That's all we're doing. So now the clients have more connection to that. And then they can say, oh, I can do this. So think about this tribe, this following of abundant-minded people that love and want to win. They're abundance. They're a different type of person. Like they're not thinking about what can I take from you? What can I get? They're givers, not takers. That's what the Invest community is all about. That's what I want to be. I don't want to be with people that aren't like that. So I'm like, I'm going to build it with my friends this way. And if the whole community grows, we all win.
Absolutely. I love that. That is exactly how we feel too. The Go-Giver is one of my favorite books by Bob Berg. It's a very similar mindset, of course, to that. And, that's how we got started investing in assisted living was, and some other real estate that we do. But it was like, hey, these are just some of my best buddies and I want to keep doing life with them and growing with them as we build this company. And we're just going to try, our goal we have an assisted living mastermind called the Row Room. And our goal through that is like, hey, how can we empower 1,000 entrepreneurs to open boutique luxury assisted living homes that are going to take exceptional care of grandmas and grandpas? And we're like, there's such a huge need for that. And I think something that's really evident in what you've shared is like, there's such a huge need. You feel this calling, you're getting so fulfilled in what you're doing. And compare that back to like corporate America, Scott, and where you were there. And it's so cool to see you living out that dream and having that mindset and doing that. So I would encourage folks who are listening to this, like, listen to what Scott said about mindset and the ability to like create the life that you want to live. No matter how big that is, you can do that. And so it's really exciting to share that.
Absolutely. It really is. And when you think about, if you can do your unique ability is important to understand. It's something that you can do that you would never get tired of doing, that you could go and you just keep that excitement. If you could find that that's purpose, right? So freedom, there's 4 freedoms in your life and purpose is one of them. And because if you can't live your unique ability, then it's a drag. It's like getting out of bed and you didn't get a good night's sleep. It's like, I can't do it anymore. Like you have no energy, but it's like, if I'm going on vacation, like, let's go. I'm up and I'm ready to go. Like my kids are out of bed. I'm like, why don't you guys get out of bed? Well, we're not going on vacation because, So purpose, but you want freedom of your money. You want freedom of your time because money gets your time back. So like, if you don't have money, then you can't do time. Why do you want time? To spend with the relationships and the people that you love, so you can live your bigger purpose. So like every person that comes into my office, and I've met with thousands of people, all these different doctors, because I like to work in it, because I was like, how can I help 1 million people be free from financial worry and actually achieve whatever their potential is? It's not for me to decide, it's for them. So like if I give them the tools and the secrets that I learn and the hacks, the shortcuts that they would like to see, and little simple tools, those hacks, shortcuts and tools that they can help them, how much better would that be for me selfishly, because I get to experience their success by watching them succeed. It's cool. It's like taking your kid to Disney World for the first time, or taking a new person to the Indy 500 and see their head pop off, or like we did, get to sit on a field suite and you got the players jumping into the suite saying, what's up? And they're like,
amazing.
And they love us because why? Because we are literally authentically here for them. And so to me, it's just like, that is just like, it's like, I don't even care. Like, the money is not about it. That's purpose living right there. So to me, but I never went for it for money. I always went for it for value. I was chasing money, but once I realized I could add value, the money just came. So then it changed my mindset that I was like, I can be a giver and somehow the world of abundance just works.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true. I had kind of a similar upbringing, not to the same degree as yours, but there was always this tension amongst finances. My family also divorced. And it was this drive and this motivation for me too, of like, I never want my kids to feel that financial tension, that financial stress. Always wanted to be a doctor. And at the time, doctors made a lot more money than they did now. But it was like, hey, how can I go after that path? And through that, my life has changed and so forth. But it's so true to see that, like, once you kind of break the shackles of money and like that need to like keep all that you have and not give back because you're scared that you're not going to have enough for whatever reason, and you start giving more, like, yeah, you're right. It just flows right back to you and you feel so much better and you have that purpose. And that's what I think folks are really chasing, is that purpose over profit. The profit's going to follow. And so I love that. We started recently, probably about 1.5 years ago. We were just like, yeah, we're giving to the church and we're giving to, Young Life and some other, Christian nonprofits that we love. And, but we really wanted to just like start a giving account so that when you have those moments that come up where like, hey, someone's car breaks down, you can just be like, yeah, here's this money that I've already earmarked that gets pulled out of my income. And I feel no attachment to that money and I just want to give that away. And so that's something that we started doing as a family. And gosh, I love it. It's been so cool to see like a buddy who leads Young Life And he's like, hey man, we're $500 short for the bus to take all these high school kids to camp. And I'm like, yeah, here's $500. And it was like, it's just so cool to like be able to have the opportunity to do that and to impact folks. But I think you also have to think about your strategy and how you're going to set up your finances to be able to do that. It's just, that's when you feel most fulfilled.
It's so funny. Like, 'cause we had a client, he just sold his pharmacy business, 37 times revenue, freaking awesome win. And then what we did is we sold it last year. We rolled the money into an opportunity zone. So opportunity zone, then you could grow that over 10 years and pay no tax. And the problem is it was last year. So the tax is actually due in 12 months. So then we set up a charitable fund. So then what they do is you can donate the money into the charity, and then the charity then pays the income to the charity of choice. And you do it over, I think this one was like a 15-year period, but then you can manage all the decisions inside the trust. And after the trust time is over, now you can have back the assets. So it was like a triple whammy to offset taxes. So we could either pay it, or we could use the charitable side, or we could keep it. So it's about that game board of looking at tax code, how do you own it, how you can move things around on the game board to see, well, if I'm going to give it anyway, I might as well give money to the charity than to the IRS. Or if I could defer it, then I could build like Warren Buffett did. He's like, I'm never going to pay my dividend. I'm going to let Berkshire Hathaway become the biggest company. And then right before it's there, I'm going to give it away. The whole thing.
Amazing.
And I pay no tax. Like, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. I'm reading Poor Charlie's Almanac right now, and it's been so cool to learn about the Buffett Charlie Munger relationship and how they structured things. It is incredible. That is awesome. Well, Scott, I want to be respectful of your time. And so how can folks reach out to you, learn more about Invest, and connect with you?
You can email me anytime. It's Scott at INVST. We can't spell, so there's no E. So INVST.com, Scott with 2 T's. That's my email. So feel free to hit me up. I'm always available. And then our website's invest.com. And on there, there's a quiz you can take, a freedom quiz, and it goes through our 6 principles. I don't know if you've ever read Elon Musk's book, which was really cool. And I didn't know this at the time, but when I wrote Accelerate, I was like, could you have financial principles that would stand the course of time no matter what? And so he talks about the algorithm. The algorithm is principles-based thinking first, and then you move into faster. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, so Accelerate is the principles. So in there's 6 key principles, and then you can go through it and you can tell you where you're at on the 6 principles. And if you got a flat tire here or wherever, so it gives you a framework to be able to think through that. But it's everything that you'll see so Poor Charlie's Almanac is rules. Like, you're talking about value-based investors. These are the rules to make the who's do your job right. So a lot of that Buffettisms are in there, and Charlie Munger, because that's just your investment thesis. And like, they have theirs. And so it's in that. So if you go on the website, you can go through that journey and see where you're at. And if you say, hey, give me the game board, then we can engage with that. And like I said, just take it, man. See what you can learn. If we can help, great. If not, we're here to assist. So just think of it just as like, we're just we're all looking at winning. And if there's a way for us to help you in some way, or there's a product or service that we can offer, we'd love to. But if not, here's all my stuff I can give away for free. It's there.
I love that. Thanks, Scott. I really appreciate it. This was a great conversation. And I think a lot of docs who are listening are going to resonate with the idea of, hey, how we really have to take control of our financial life. I appreciate the way that you do it, man. I love your mindset and your ability and your abundance. And so thank you so much for your time, Scott. I hope you have a good rest of the day.
You too. Appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Take care.
Yep.
Hey, real quick, if you're still listening to this, I'm assuming you got value from it. So I need your help specifically. My 2-year vision with this podcast is to help 100,000 physicians learn how investing in real estate can give you the freedom to practice medicine and live life how you want. There are 2 main ways that a podcast grows. One is through ratings and reviews, and the other is word of mouth. If you can please leave me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as send this to 1 to 2 friends that you think would get value from it, we can reach the physicians that we want to reach. Thanks in advance, and talk to you on the next episode. Please note that the information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only. It should not be considered financial or medical advice. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the host and the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Department of Defense or the United States Air Force.